Hello students, good morning. This is Ajay Kumar Solanki in front of you, and today I have brought for you story number 3, A Horse and Two Goats. And this is the very inspiring story, very knowledge giving story. And this story itself is famous for its realism, its accurate presentation about everyday life and how the people in urban areas and rural areas lead their life. And everything actually you will learn from this story. In this story, the clashes of cultures has been given, how the people, those who love materialistic things, and how the people, those who believe in spiritualism, actually are clearly shown, and how what actually the poverty is, and how the people, those who are wealthy, enjoy their life, and what actually the difference is between knowledge and ignorance, and all these things actually students we will learn. And because here two characters have been introduced, those who are of quite different nature, different background, and now story I am going to start students, so please put your finger over the line so that you can better understand the story. Okay, so now in very first paragraph, of the 700,000 villages dotting the map of India. Dotting means students spreading out. Kritam was probably the tiniest. There was a village named Kritam, and it was the perhaps it was the smallest, tiniest village. And these dotted actually could be seen spread on the map, and the dots were actually the dot that was indicating Kritam village was very microscopic dot, and there was a need to maintain it, to mention it, only because of the to locate the location of the village, so that the people could reach the village, they could understand how to reach the village. But its size did not prevent its giving itself the grandiose name Kritam. Grandiose means students very attractive, very impressive, or the name of the village was Kritam, though it was very small, but its meaning of the name in Tamil language was quite wonderful, and the meaning was coronet or crown, Taj, जो top पे होता है, and that was the meaning of the village, though it was very small in size. And there were students consist of less than 30 houses only were there in the village, and only one out of 30 was made of brick and cement, and that was the house in which rich people used to live, and rest of the houses were made of mud, and made of thatch, straws, and unspecified material, not approved material. Approved material was not used in making them. And the house that was made of brick, and over the walls, railings of the house, the gargoyles. Gargoyles means a comical carved human or animal faces, and such faces of animals and humans were marked over the balustrade. Balustrade means railings of that very house, outside boundaries of that very house. And there was a character students in this story, and the character or name of the character was Moni, and he was a very poor man, and his house was in the fourth street. There were four streets in the village, and writer thinks that his house must be the last one and that very street. Students, in his prosperous days, Moni had owned a flock of 40 sheep and goats, and when Moni was prosperous, he had 40 sheep and goats, and he used to sally. Sally means march out with the flock early in the morning, and he used to come back from the highway. Highway was a place where that was a couple of miles away from his house, and he took his animals there for grazing grazing the grass, and there he would sit on the pedestal. And students, there was a pedestal of clay statue, and there was a clay statue made on a pedestal, and Muni sat over the pedestal, waiting for the animals when they were grazing, and at that very time he carried a crook at the end of the bamboo pole. Crook means students a curved implement, a sickle, मुड़ा हुआ एक हैंसिया. He used to take it and cut down the foliage, leaves, and for the animals. He used to climb over the tree, and from where he cut down the leaves for the animals, and animals roaming under the tree ate it up. And later on, he also gathered fagots. Fagots means the bundle of sticks, and he collected it and for the households, and he came back at the time of evening. Now, students, his wife lit the domestic fire at dawn. Dawn means morning, and boiled water in a mud pot, threw into it a handful of millet flour, added salt, and gave him his first nourishment of the day. And this was the his wife actually when Moni used to go for work. Then early in the morning, his wife got up, and after waking up, she used to prepare breakfast for Moni. And this breakfast was this one, a millet flour, and she added salt to it. And after adding salt to it, uh, she gave this to Moni as food, as the first food of the day. And Moni actually used to eat it up in the morning, and the same he used to take in a lunchbox, packet lunchbox, and she used to wrap up the same nourishment, same food for him to eat at the time of noon. And Moni actually used to eat it up with some millets cooked in a little bowl, which he put with onion at the midday. And at the time of noon, he used to eat it up with raw onion sitting over there. His fortunes had declined gradually. Gradually means students slowly, unnoticed. Moni could not understand what actually happened to him. And rich Moni actually uh, was now very poor because the flock of 40 which he drove into a pen at night. Pen means in an enclosure into which animals are kept. And Moni actually used to drive all his animals into a pen at the time of night, and thereafter his stock had now come down to two goats. Only two goats were left with Muni now because of the disease. And the name of the disease was pestilence and epidemic disease, and which were tethered to the trunk of the drumstick tree. Now two goats were left only, and he used to tie the two goats up with a drumstick tree, and which grew in front of his hut, and from occasionally Muni could shake down drumsticks, and this morning he got six. And Muni used to shake that very tree and hilata tha wo us पेड़ को, and some leaves fell down onto the ground, and he felt himself really very happy, triumph, as if he was a winner. And this morning, if I talk about, then he got six leaves to eat, but he did not have any sauce now today to eat it up, and he wanted to eat these leaves with sauce. But his wife said that there were no contents left in the house, in the kitchen of the house. And but Moni was tired of eating those leaves. Moni was fed up, and he wanted to eat the leaves with sauce. So in this paragraph, students, you will learn you have only four teeth in your jaw. Commenting upon her husband, his wife actually told Moni that he is very old, and this time only four teeth are left in his jaw, and he wanted the delicious food items to eat. But she assured him that if he arranges some foodstuffs like rice, millet, then all the cravings, unholy cravings, untimely, greedy cravings means desires, ichhaएं, then she will fulfill them. And but first of all, according to her, Muni has to bring dal, chili, curry leaves, mustard, coriander, gingerly oil, okay, and one large potato from the market. And Muni went to market, and the shop was in the third street from where he had to bring all these food items. Now in a very funny paragraph, this is Muni sat patiently on the upturned packing case. There was a packing case in which luggage is brought to the shop for the shopkeeper. Muni sat there and waited for his turn, but when the shopkeeper paid no attention to him, Muni started throating, coughing, sneezing, only to get the attention of the shopkeeper. And when the shopkeeper was irritated, then he commented upon Muni and asked him what his problem was. If he sneezes so hard, then he will go to gutter directly. Muni actually started laughing inordinately, and he did not mind it. And in order to please the shopman, and he wanted to now make the shopman happy, and for making him feel happy, he he actually did not mind the words of the shopkeeper, and he was happy because the shopkeeper actually addressed Moni as young man, though he was an old man. And when the shopkeeper saw this good sense of humor of Moni, that in irritating words also he could easily find out, he easily trace out the good words which somebody speaks for him, then he was very happy, and the shopkeeper used to appreciate this humor of Moni also. By thus humoring the shopman, and because of this good presence of mind and good sense of humor, Moni used to get some items from the shopkeeper, promising repayment later, and he promised the shopkeeper that he will pay the money later on. Sometimes the shopkeeper mood was very good, and in such a good mood he gave Moni whatever he needed. But sometimes actually he did not give him because he wanted his previous dues first of all from him. The shopman said that if you could find 5 rupees and a quarter, and because this was the previous due, then first of all you have to pay me your previous dues. Then I will give you some other items, and I will pay you everything on the first of the next month. When Moni assured him that he would pay the money next month on first date, then shopkeeper used to laugh at him. Then from where he will arrange the money, whether he will go to loot someone or rob someone, क्या वो लूट के लाएगा किसी से पैसा. And Moni actually at this time could not give any answer, but later on he told the shopkeeper that my daughter has sent word. Word means message, that she will send money to Moni very soon. And the shopkeeper knew it very well that Moni did not have any children, so he actually sneered. He just sneered means students became mocking smile, and mock करते हुए हंसना. और shopkeeper asked him that okay, I could believe your words. Now tell me, for what purpose your daughter will send you money? Then Moni indicated birthday, 50th birthday, and then shopkeeper asked him his age, how old Moni was. Moni repeated weakly, not with full confidence. Moni was not confident at all, and he said 50. And he always calculated the days according to the time, any famine time, and when he stood as parapet, when he was as much tall as the parapet or the defensive wall around the village well was, and at that very time some famine conditions occurred in the village, and from that very time he calculated his age. And so that's why the people, those who were standing over there, and they were mocking at Moni that at that very time lots of famines were there. Then you also forgot that you mentioned a birthday 5 weeks ago. Shopkeeper also commented on him, and he said that 5 weeks ago Moni was telling him that he was standing at some other age, and this time he was telling him the different age, and he commented on him that 5 weeks ago Moni, the royal person, actually had come to my shop and he wanted to have a holy bath with castor oil, and he started mocking at his poverty like this कि पिछले बार भी ये महाराज आए थे हमारी शॉप पे और इनको होली बात के लिए शानदार कैस्टर ऑयल चाहिए था. तो इस तरीके से he started commenting upon him. Moni was feeling very insulted, and unobtrusively rose, unnoticingly, and Moni did not pay any attention toward the shopkeeper and went back to his house. And he later told his wife, this scoundrel would not give me anything. Scoundrel means rug, means dusht person, and he hurled forcefully. And after coming back from the shop, and indicated his wife that she should go outside to sell the drumsticks, because if she sells them, then some money can be arranged, and with that very money households can be maintained. And flung himself down. Thereafter he actually forcefully threw himself down into a corner and wanted to recoup, means recover from that very fatigue, tiredness which he was feeling going to the shop that was in the 3rd street. His wife said, you are getting no sauce today. Now the wife of Moni was very angry, and because he could not arrange the money, and nor anything else, not only sauce but any other food material also Muni will not get today. I can't find anything to give you to eat. Fast till the evening, and it will do you good. And she advised Muni to take fast, to have fast, and take the goats and be gone now, and don't come back before the sun is down. Muni's wife actually wanted that Muni should go for the whole day and he should not show his face to his wife till evening. He knew that if he obeyed her, she would somehow conjure up and some food for him in the evening. And conjure up means students to achieve, to gain, or anyhow she will arrange the food for him till evening if he does not protest her. If he calmly, quietly goes out of the house, and this is really good for him. And only this time he wanted to be careful and not to argue with his wife. Her temper was undependable in the morning but improved by evening time. Muni knew it very well that his wife actually get irritated, and sometimes when she is angry in the morning, then at the time of evening she is quite calm and in good mood. She was sure to go out and work, and Muni knew it very well that she would somehow manage the food. She would go to big house and can do the work of sweeping, scrubbing the utensils, and earn enough money for the food stuffs anyhow. And the dinner he will find ready. And unleashing the goats, now he untied, उसने unleash कर दिया, untie कर दिया goats को, and whatever his wife had indicated to him, he did the same, and he went away from there, driving them ahead and uttering weird cries from time to time. Now Muni was taking his animals, shouting at them, and that was the shout, that was the bully, that was the foul words for the animals, and according to these foul words, the animals marched fast. He passed through the village with his head bowed in thought. He did not want to look at anyone or to be accosted. A couple of cronies longing in the temple corridor hailed him, but he ignored their call. Muni actually was absorbed in his thoughts. He did not want that somebody should call him. So Muni actually, being absorbed in his thoughts, kept on moving. Some friends, some cronies, friends were longing, were relaxing in the temple corridor, and they actually called him, hailed him, but Muni actually did not pay attention towards them. Shopman had said that he was 70, he was thinking, he was absorbed in his thought, how actually he could manage, his wife could manage, because at 70 already he was standing, and at this age, any time actually he may be called for by God. And after his death, what actually his wife would do, and they had lived in each other's company. And Muni knew it very well that since they were very young, they had been told that Muni was of 10 years and his wife was of 8 years, and at that very age they were married. And how actually his wife would manage when Muni would die, and progeny, children actually were none, they were childless. Perhaps a large progeny would have brought him the blessings of gods. If he had more children, then obviously they could earn more blessings or more happiness for the family. And such thoughts were going on in the mind of him. Only on the outskirts did he lift his head and look up. He urged and bullied the ghosts until they meandered along to the foot of the horse statue on the edge of the village. When Muni actually came out of the meandered means students curved, and Muni actually came out of his thoughts, and until they meandered along to the foot, when the goats actually moved to different directions to graze. Until then he was absorbed in his thoughts, and thereafter he came out of his thoughts and sat on the pedestal and rest of the day. The advantage of this was that he could watch the highway and see the lorries and buses pass through the hills, and it gave him a sense of belonging to a larger world. Muni sitting over here felt that he still is the part of the world, because here is also the presence of other humans, and they used to go or pass through from a hill to the different sides sitting in their lorries and buses, and he used to see them. Pedestal of the statue was broad enough for him to move around, and pedestal on which Muni used to sit was not a smaller one, that was the broader one. And not only Muni could protect himself from the sunlight sitting over there, but he could change the directions. Even he could come under the uh, bellies of the horse statue, so that he could protect himself from the sunlight. Horse was nearly life size, student. Horse was not actually a smaller one. It was as big as the real horse itself is, and molded out of clay. And the horse was made of clay, and bright colored were used to color it up, and reared its head proudly. Reared means lifted, and the head of the horse was reared up, lifted up, and as if the horse was feeling proud, prancing its four legs. And students, prancing means what I'm moving with high steps, and forelegs were into the air and flourishing its tail into a loop. And students, uh, horse statue actually was flourishing its tail. Flourishing का मतलब लहराना in a loop, एक मोड़ के रूप में घुमा, पूंछ जो थी लूप लिए हुए थी, घुमाव लिए हुए थी, and fold लिए हुए थी, and in such a wild way this tail was prepared of the horse into the air. It was uh, flourishing, and beside the horse stood a warrior. Not only one statue was there, there was another statue, and this was the statue of a warrior with scythe like mustachios. And scythe जिस तरीके का होता है हाँसी या इस तरीके का फार्मिंग टूल, सच मस्टिचियोस इस तरह की मूछें उस वॉरियर के थीं. बल्जिंग आइज़, और उसकी आइज़ जो थी वो उभरी हुई थी, बल्जिंग थी, स्वेलिंग थी. And aquiline means curved, and it had the curved nose. Horse itself was said to have been as white as Dhobi was sheet. This was the color of the horse, as the white sheet is. Similarly, the horse was as white as the sheet itself is. Had on its back a cover of pure brocade of red, and there was a covering on the back of the horse, and it was of red threads, and blackish laces were used in it, matching the multicolored sash. Or sash actually is the waistband around the waist of the warrior, and the similar colors were there. The color color of the cover was as matchable as the color of the sash that was around the waist of the warrior. Waist means kamar. And but none of the village remembered the splendor, as no one noticed its existence. But village people actually did not look towards it, because they did not keep its existence in their notice at all. Even Moni, who spent all his waking hours, daytime, sitting over there, never bothered to look up. He did not pay attention towards it. He untouched even by the young vandals of the village. Even students, vandals means what are the persons, the notorious person, those who destroy or damage property, and such people always never leave any property undamaged, but they also damaged it. Inscribed lewd designs on the walls, and such people actually make some foul designs, lewd designs on the walls, but actually they did not make anything else over the horse statue. This statue had been closer to the population of the village one time. This was not from this was not since beginning. Earlier, actually, when the village came inside the boundary of the Kritam, then the village people actually kept this is horse statue into their notice. But till when it was outside of the boundary of the village and not within the limit of the village people paid no attention to it. Moni sat at the foot of the statue watching his two goats graze in the arid soil. Arid means students dry. Moni kept watching his goats who were just grazing the grass between the cactus and evergreen lantana bushes, and he looked at the sun. And it had tilted westwards, no doubt, because Moni knew it very well that his wife had given him ultimatum that if he goes earlier, then she would be quite angry. So that's why he wanted to stay over there some more time till evening, till darkness, and so that's why he must give her time to cool off her temper and feel sympathetic. And by doing so, his wife's temper will go down, and she will feel sympathy for him, and then she would scrounge and manage to get some food. And if he does so, then scrounge means borrow or beg. Anyhow, she would beg or borrow or arrange some food for him if he follows her. So he noticed now some new cart or vehicle coming down at full speed. Muni noticed then some vehicle was coming towards him. It looked like both motor car and bus, and he had never seen such sights in his life, and he was fond of watching some intrigued, some lured. He was lured. He was greedy to see such noble sights in his life. So, but of late work was going at the source of the river of the mountain, and but he knows very well that some people must be doing work at the source where the river originates at the mountain side, and an assortment of people and traffic went past him, and he knew it very well that assortment means the varied mixture. He different types of people and traffic used to pass by him, so this must be quite normal, but the vehicle was different, and he took it all casually. He was looking normal, and later on actually he described his wife everything whatever he had faced there. But this time if we come that every day whatever he saw, but today while he observed the yellow vehicle coming down, but today when Muni was watching it out, the yellow vehicle was coming down. He was wondering how to describe it. Muni actually did not have any idea how he would describe it to his wife, because it was quite different. Sputtered means so the students produced explosive sound. It was producing explosive sound and stopped in front of Muni. Red-faced foreigner came down from this vehicle, and he started stooping, means lowering himself down, watching out the vehicle very carefully, his own vehicle. Then he stood up very straight before Moni and wanted him uh, some uh, some gas station, because he wanted some petrol, some gas from some petrol pump, and there was no gas station nearby according to him. So this he wanted from Muni, ki whether there was any gas station nearby or not. He suddenly looked up at the clay horse and cried. Suddenly he actually cut off his own statement, and looking at the wonderful statue of horse, he cried, marvelous it was. And he did not complete his previous sentence that regarding the gas station. Mooney felt he should get up and run away, and Mooney now was failing to run away from there, and but he could not run because he was old, so it was not possible for him to run. The red-faced man, and the reason behind this why Mooney was trying to run, he was wearing the khaki clothes, and he was looking like a policeman or a soldier. So Muni was thinking in his mind that the person might come to him to arrest him. So Muni actually uh, was speaking out like this, that oh Lord Shiva, protect me, and he uttered the name of Lord Shankar, and I don't know why this man should be after me. And Muni was surprised what wrong actually he had done, because of which this man is after him. And meanwhile, the foreigner repeated the same word, marvelous, again nodding his head, and he was moving his head also. And he paced around the statue. He was walking with fixed eyes. He did not take his eyes off the horse, and he was watching it out with a fixed look. Muni sat down. Muni sat frozen for a while. Muni was very afraid, and he was chilled with terror, and then fidgeted and tried out. And thereafter he actually fidgeted means made small movements which धीरे धीरे करके पीछे हटने लगा, भागने की कोशिश करने लगा. Now the other man suddenly pressed his palms together. Now the other man greeted Moni with a smile, and he said namaste to him, and how do you do, and he wanted to know from Moni how he was, and at which Moni spoke the only English expressions he had learnt, yes, no. Very funny, students. Mooney did not know English, so that's why only two words he knew in English, yes, no. So he spoke both of them altogether. And having exhausted his English, because he was very poor in English vocabs, he started in Tamil. My name is Mooney, and these two goats are mine, and no one can gainsay it. Gainsay means oppose, and these two actually two goats are mine, and there is no objection of anybody. But the people of this village actually taking the own advantages, used to slander, used to defame someone, used to spread rumors everywhere that whatever a person has does not belong to him. They speak like this, but he assured the foreigner not to believe such words, because he is really the owner of this horse statue. Now the foreigner faithfully looked into the direction indicated by Muni's fingers. Muni was indicating in some direction, and the foreigner was surprised about what Muni was talking. and he was looking puzzled, and he took out the cigarette case and lit up a cigarette and offered a cigarette to Moni also. Because students, he was feeling that Moni must be feeling the same desire of smoking, so that's why he offered Moni the cigarette, and Moni answered yes, no, and whereupon the red-faced man took a cigarette and gave it to Moni. But red-faced man did not mind Moni's no, and he gave him a cigarette, and who received it with surprise, because Moni knew it very well that for long time, long back actually, nobody had given him such a proposal, is an expensive cigarette. How a person can give him? He was very poor. He had always wanted to smoke a cigarette. This was the desire of Moni. Once he was recalling that once the shopman had given him one cigarette to him, and he had purchased on credit, and he credit means udhar lena, ली थी उसने udhar, and he remembered how good it had tasted, and taste of that cigarette Muni felt really very good earlier. Other flicked the lighter upon. Now the Muni was given light by the foreigner. But Muni actually did some confusing activity. Muni actually put off the light, and the foreigner could not understand why the Muni had done so, and he was looking puzzled. But actually, without being undaunted, without being terrified, once again actually he did the same, and without being afraid, once again he produced the light, and this time he lit up the cigarette of Muni. Muni also started taking the deep puffs and of cuff. He was coughing because it was racking. Racking means, students, distressing. No doubt it did, but extremely pleasant. Muni was feeling the taste very nice, but he was feeling somewhat uncomfortable when his cough subsided. Subsided means controlled. जब उसकी खांसी जो थी कंट्रोल में आई, तो he wiped his eyes and took stock of the situation. And thereafter, stock means assessed, means evaluate, and try to understand the conditions, try to understand these circumstances, and understanding that the other man was not an inquisitor. Now Muni understood that the other person was not an inquisitor. Inquisitor means जांच पड़ताल करने वाला, इन्वेस्टिगेशन करने वाला. Muni समझ गया कि person's intentions are very sincere, and but still, yet in order to make sure, he was still doubtful regarding him, and he need to run away from a man who gave him such a potent smoke. Now the Muni thought that no need to run away from such a person who had given such a pleasuresome chance of smoking. His head was reeling from effect of one those strong American cigarettes, and that was not the Indian cigarette, that was the American cigarette. So that's why it was really powerful and branded, and he was feeling himself giddy, and made in toasted tobacco, because this cigarette, in it roasted tobacco was filled up, so that's why it must be quite pleasuresome. The man said, I come from New York, took out a wallet from his hip pocket, presented his card. Now the man once again gave the further introduction to Muni, that he had come from New York, and he presented Muni his card. Now the Muni shrank away from the card. Perhaps he was trying to present a warrant and arrest him. Now Muni once again was terrified, and he thought that visiting card, the arrest warrant, and he was thinking in his mind that he must be beware of khaki, because people, those who wear khaki and cannot be trusted, take all these cigarettes, whatever actually are offerings, he should accept all of them, but he should not be caught at any rate. Beware of khaki. This was the thought of Muni. He wished he were not 70. The shopman had said at 70 he did not run, and he was wishing that he might be of lesser age so that he could run. And because this time only one option he had, and that was to surrender. And he could only ward off trouble by talk. Now Muni want to ward off, टाल सकता था, ward off कर सकता था trouble को anyhow, only because of one thing, and that was to make the person engaged and with him to talk. So he went on. So now Muni actually made him busy, and all the chaste Tamil. Now Muni actually knew only Tamil language, so he kept giving explanations in Tamil, only to make the person busy, because Tamil language, Tamil Nadu actually was, Kritam was famous for Tamil language. Before God, sir, Bhagwan, who sees everything, I see you, sir, that that we know nothing of the case. Mooney started giving the description of a murder case that had taken place near his village. Uh, and another village was there, Kupam, and near Kupam and Kritam, there was a place, and at that very place, some murder actually happened. And Mooney started giving the explanation of that murder. And Mooney explained that he was not a criminal and there is no hand of him in such a crime. And whosoever did it will not escape. Bhagwan is all seeing, and don't ask me about it. I know nothing, because whosoever is the murderer, and that he will be caught. A body had been found mutilated, and he told him mutilated means disfigured, kuchli hui. Sir, actually we had found a body that was disfigured, and it was thrown under a tamarind tree and in the border of, as I had told you, between Kritam and Kupam. And this was the incident a few weeks before, giving rise to much gossip and speculations. Now Mooney wanted to make him busy so that he could just guess, he should just be busy in gossips. वो बढ़ाना चाहता था बात को, कैसे भी करके वो बिजी रहे, अनुमान लगाए, जगह के बारे में सोचे. Mooney added an explanation. Anything is possible there, sir. That is the place. Anything can happen at that very place, and that is very dangerous place. Nobody stop there, because this anything may happen at that very place. Foreigner nodded his head. Foreigner could not understand because he knew only English, and listened courteously through his understood, though he understood nothing. Now in a very patientful way he was listening to him, though he was getting nothing from him. I'm sure you know when this horse was made. Once again he came back to his main topic, that was the horse. Said the red-faced man. He smiled ingratiatingly. Ingratiatingly means intending to gain approval. Now he wanted to gain approval of Mooney. Whatever he was saying, that must be correct. Mooney reacted to the relaxed atmosphere by smiling himself and pleaded. And Mooney also was feeling relaxed, because he was thinking in his mind that foreigner is getting everything whatever he had spoken. And he told him that to go away, sir. I know nothing about that very murder, and I promise we will hold him for you if we see any bad character around. And Mooney assured him that he will help him out. If he finds the murderer, then he will bury him up to the neck under a coconut tree in a pit, and so that he cannot run. And but our village has always a clean record. Mooney assured him about his village, that his village actually is the very nice village, and nobody can do such a heinous crime. And person must be of some other village, whosoever had done the murder. Now the red-faced man implored, please, please, I will speak slowly. And red-faced man actually tried to make Mooney understand in a very slow pitch, slow way. Mooney actually can't understand a simple word of English, because the person told Mooney that everybody in your country speaks out or understands English, because I have come from New York and roamed around everywhere in the country, and this time I am in Tamil Nadu, but you don't speak it. Have you any religious or spiritual scruples? And he wanted to know, Mooney, is there any problem, is there any scruple, is there any doubt, because of which on the religious level, spiritual level, because of which you do not speak English, you do not understand English? Mooney made some indistinct sounds in his throat. Mooney started coughing now and shook his head. Encouraged, and Mooney was also encouraged, because continuously the foreigner was giving him replies. The other went on to explain at length. Now other person, that was the foreigner, and uttering each syllable with care and deliberation. Deliberation means care. Now in a very careful way, and slowly he started laying out the emphasis over every syllable. Now he explained Mooney continuously, and getting the approval of his head. Presently he sidled over and took a seat beside the old man. And now he came to the side of Mooney. धीरे धीरे चलते हुए आया, साइड से होते हुए, and he sat with Mooney, now explaining. You see, last August we probably had the hottest summer in history. Now he started explaining how he came to India, and how hot actually it was in New York, and he was working in shirt sleeves in my office, and I was not wearing coat, I was in a shirt, and 40th floor actually I was in Empire State Building. That was the statement of the foreigner. He had a power failure, and he was stuck for 4 hours no elevator, no air conditioning, and he was really fed up inside his office at that very time. And when he was coming back to his house, he was thinking about all the same. And after reaching Connecticut, means the place he belonged to in New York, he told his wife Ruth Aid and everything how he was stuck inside his office at 40th floor. Thereafter, they decided to visit India in winter season, and his wife actually booked everything she fixed in time, and because of which the couple was in India. And his wife Ruth actually was in Srinagar. She was staying at Srinagar, some location, and he was taking rounds at different locations of India. Moni looked reflective. Reflective means thoughtful. Moni was thinking what actually the meaning of the long oration or the speech is which he had given, rather feebly yes no. But Moni actually said yes no and the concession of the other's language, and he wanted to give doubtful concession, doubtful approval to Moni, and he went on in Tamil. Now Muni started in Tamil language. When I was this high, sir, actually when I was 1 foot high, and he indicated a foot high, and I had heard my uncle say, when I was 1 foot of height, then my uncle actually used to say, but this statement was cut off. No one can tell what he was planning to say, because the other interrupted him at this stage, because the foreigner actually interrupted him, and he said, what boy is the secret of your teeth? How old are you? Okay, sir. Actually, tell me how you maintain your teeth. Teeth are very white. What is your age? Muni forgot what he was telling about his uncle. Now he started another topic, and sometimes we too lose our cattle, sir, because jackals, cheetahs, such animals actually take our animals and run away. And sometimes it is just theft. So some other village people may also be suspected for taking our animals, and so that's why we will know who has done it, and we easily can find it out who the thief is, because in our village, sir, there is a priest, and in a camphor flame easily he can see the face of the thief, and finally he is caught. And then Muni gave the gestures of his hands, परफेक्टली मिन्सिंग, जैसे कि वो मिन्सिंग कर रहा हो, किसी को काट रहा हो अपने हाथों से, इस तरीके के उसने जेस्चर्स दिए, सर पहन दी थी फेस कॉट तो हम उसका कीमा बना देते हैं, हम उसको पीटते हैं इस तरीके से. अमेरिकन वॉच्ड हिज हैंड्स इंटेंटली. अमेरिकन ने उसके हाथों को चलते हुए इस तरह देखा कुछ काटते हुए, तो वो बोला कि आई नो वॉट यू मीन्स, मैं समझ गया कि आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं. यू मीन चॉप समथिंग, तुम कुछ काटने की बात कर रहे हो. मे बी आई एम होल्डिंग यू अप, शायद आपको लगता है कि मैं आपको हाथों में उठा रहा हूँ, एंड यू वांट टू चॉप बोर्ड, और साथ में आप जो है लकड़ी काटना चाहते हैं. व्हाट इज़ योर एक्स, वेयर इज़ योर एक्स, आपकी कुल्हाड़ी कहाँ है. हैंड इट टू मी एंड शो मी व्हाट टू चॉप, बताओ मुझे क्या काटना है. आई डू एन्जॉय इट बिकॉज आई टू लाइक चॉपिंग, दिस इज़ माई हॉबी. इवन माई वी गेट ए लॉट ऑफ ड्रिफ्ट बोर्ड अलॉन्ग दी, जो बहती हुई लकड़ी आ जाती है, दैट इज़ ड्रिफ्ट बोर्ड. और मैं तो उसको अपने घर में जो है, जो मेरे घर के पीछे नदी बहती है उसमें लकड़ी बहते हुए आती है, मैं उसको और जो है न्यूज़पेपर्स तक को, संडे टाइम्स को, उन सबको आग में जला देता हूँ. एंड आई रियली फील डिफरेंट व्हेन आई वॉच द फायर, बिकॉज दिस इज़ माई हॉबी टू सी फायर इन द फायर प्लेस, ऑल्दो इट मे टेक ऑल द सेक्शंस ऑफ संडे न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स. सारे सेक्शंस को, सारे पार्ट्स को, सारे पीसेस ऑफ पेपर को आई बर्न, अप्लाई इन टू फायर. And he smiled at this reference, and now he was smiling, giving such reference. And Mooney felt totally confused what he was telling, and decided the best thing would be to make an attempt and to get away from this place. Now Mooney wanted to run away once again from this very place, and he tried to age out, और वो बच के भाग नहीं चाहता था, saying must go home, सर मुझे घर जाना चाहिए, turn to go, और वो मुड़ गया अपने घर जाने के लिए. The other sees this soldier. Now he was caught by the shoulder by the foreigner, and said desperately, because he was also in desperate condition, helpless condition, is there no one absolutely to translate the language of yours to me, because some translators is required so that we both of them could understand the language of each other. He started watching here and there on the road, but there was nobody. The road was quite deserted at the time of afternoon, and the stranger almost pinioned Mooney is back, and the almost pinion mean held down, or the foreigner actually held down Mooney to a statue, and he took him to the statue and asked, is this not statue yours, isn't this statue yours, I want to ask you whether this statue is yours or not, why don't you sell it to me, तुम ये statue मुझे बेच क्यों नहीं देते हो. The old man now understood the reference to the horse, now thought for a second and said in his own language, I was an urchin this high when I heard my grandfather explain this horse and warrior, and my grandfather himself was this high when he heard the grandfather whose grandfather Mooney started giving the stupid explanations कि वो जब 1 foot height का था तो his grandfather had told him about it, and when his grandfather was 1 foot height, 1 foot of height, then his grandfather must have told him about it. The same repetition he was doing, and he was giving the explanation of the horse or the warrior, and the other man interrupted him once again, and I don't want to seem to have stopped the way for nothing, because he told Muni that he had stopped him because of some purpose, and I will offer you a good price for this. And he wanted this time to give him a good price, indicating the horse again and again, and he had concluded without the least doubt that Muni owned this mud horse. And there was no doubt in his mind that the real possessor of this horse statue is Moni. Perhaps he guessed by the way he sat on its pedestal. शायद उसको ऐसा इसलिए भी लग रहा था बिकॉज मोनी वॉज सिटिंग ऑन इट्स पेडेस्टल एंड लाइक द सोवनीर सेलर्स, जैसे कि सोवनीर सेलर्स होते हैं और वो अपनी सारी की सारी जो सोवनीर्स होते हैं, सारी के सारे जो टोकन्स होते हैं, उन सबको जो है वो अपने सामने रख लेते हैं और सेल करने के लिए। और वो सोवनीर सेलर्स क्योंकि अब उसके पास बैठते हैं अपने सारे टोकन्स के, सारी मूर्तियों के छोटे छोटे, तो दैट्स वाई ही वॉज थिंकिंग सो कि हॉर्स स्टैचूज ऑफ मोनी, क्योंकि मोनी भी वहीं पास में ही बैठता था उसके। Muni followed the man's eyes and pointing fingers and dimly understood the subject matter. Muni now understood that the subject matter was perhaps the horse. Perhaps the foreigner must be talking about horse. Feeling relieved that the theme of the mutilated body had been abandoned, because he now understood that the disfigured body is not the topic and he must be talking about the horse now, said again enthusiastically. Now Muni's confidence level get boosted up, and I was this high when my grandfather told me about this horse. Sir, once again I am telling you. Once again he repeated the same, how he came to know about this horse and the warrior statue. His grandfather had told him, and to his grandfather must have told him. Like this, Muni started giving the explanations once again. The Tamil that Muni spoke was stimulating, and the Muni was speaking out Tamil language, and this Tamil language was stimulating, means arousing interest, and it was interest arousing, and he was listening to this wonderful Tamil language with fascination, with attraction. And I wish that I had my tape recorder here, and he wished that if he had the tape recorder, that he would have recorded that very voice, because the voice is really very wonderful. I get a kick because he feels a kick, he feels a desire, he feels interest after getting felt the kick, wants to enjoy something very much, because I enjoy listening such melodious, such good voice, but you don't have to waste your breath in sales talk. And he told Muni that there is no need to be like a representative, because representative needs to highlight the good points of the things or the articles which he wants to sell, but there is no need of that, because already he is impressed, so there is no need to define it. I never went to school in those days. Only Brahmins went to school, but we had to go out of the work in the fields. Muni now started giving the description of his poor days, how he was poor and quite berefted of the schools. Only Brahmin children were allowed to go to school, and he used to work in the fields with his father. And when Pongal came and we had cut the harvest, और सर जब पोंगल आता था और जब हमें फसल काटनी होती थी, and the father allowed पोंगल के त्यौहार के पास में ही कुछ दिन जब हम फ्री हो जाते थे फसल काटने के बाद, तो फिर पोंगल त्यौहार के बाद में his father used to allow him to play with his friends. And so I don't know the Parangi language, and Parangi means foreign language, and Muni told him that this is the reason because of which he did not have any idea of the foreign language, and even little fellows in our country probably speak the Parangi language, but here only learned men and officers know it. Muni told him that in India only learned people or the officers actually can speak it out, but in foreigners country everybody, even the children, could speak out this language very easily. Foreigner laughed heartily, took out another cigarette now, and offered the cigarette to Muni once again, and this time Muni felt no problem in smoking it. and deciding Moni now decided to stay over there some more time because he was getting the continuous supply of cigarettes from the foreigner. And the American now stood up on the pedestal and he started giving the demonstration like a good representative, taking his fingers around the neck of the horse, and he started giving syllable by syllable each and everything about the horse, and told Moni that I could give a sales talk for this matter, how he could be a better representative than any other representative, and how he could define each and everything like a good representative about the horse. This is a marvelous combination of yellow and indigo color, though faded now, and just like this he was giving the explanation how the horse was with the combination of yellow and indigo colors, and how do people of this country achieve these flaming colors. This is the surprising thing कि आपके कंट्री के जो लोग हैं इस तरह के शाइनिंग फ्लेमिंग कलर्स किस तरीके से बनाते हैं. Moni now assured that the subject was still the horse. Moni was sure now that the foreigner was not talking about the dead body, only he was talking about the horse statue, and it is our guardian. Moni told this is horse is actually our guardian, our protector. It means death to our opponents. Moni started giving the description कि ये घोड़ा हमारे दुश्मन है, enemies हैं, उनकी death है. And at the end of Kali Yuga, the world will be destroyed, and the Redeemer will come in the shape of a horse called Kalki. और सर the Redeemer means savior, and savior जब ये धरती ख़त्म होगी तो will in the shape of the Kalki this horse will come, and he will gallop and trample down, and gallop करेगा. gallop का मतलब to run fast, trample down का मतलब होता है कुचल देना, and trample down, and this savior would come and would trample down, kick down all the bad people, and only the good people will be left. When he was brooding on the pleasant vision, Muni was absorbed in his vision. Then foreigner took the advantage of this pause. Muni सोच रहा था किस तरीके से दुनिया नष्ट होगी, कैसे रेडीमर आएगा. तभी foreigner took the advantage of this pause. He told, I assure you that this will have the best home on USA. Sir, I am assuring you that this time this horse is in the open and in sunlight, but I will keep it very safe in my home in USA, and I will push away all my books, because the books I have stored, because I am the member of 5 clubs and I have collected all the bonus volumes. Means some books actually I have got in gift, and those books actually I have piled up inside I have stored up inside my library. I have created my own library in my room, but I will replace all those very books and give the space to this horse there. This horse will be quite comfortable, I assure you. And my wife Ruth, though, will disapprove my thought, disapprove my plan to replace all the books and bookshelves, but I will convince her anyhow. Moni continued now his descriptions. At the end of the world, how the world will come to an end. How Pandit discoursed at the temple once the oceans are going to close over the earth, and Moni started giving him explanation how the world would be in the huge waves of the ocean, and the ocean water will swallow, means all will be dipped inside that very water. Then the size of the horse will be bigger and bigger, the biggest size, and this horse will kick down all the bad peoples into water, and the good people to he will allow them to sit on its back. Moni was still thinking, do you know when it is going to happen? Then Moni asked the foreigner कि ये कब होने वाला है, क्या तुम जानते हो? Foreigner now understood by the tone of the other that a question was being asked. Moni ने जिस टोन में बोला उस टोन के अकॉर्डिंग foreigner understood that Moni was asking something. I'm not a millionaire, I'm a modest businessman. And he assured Moni that he was not a millionaire, he was simply a businessman, and his business is of coffee amidst all these wilderness of obscure sound. Now, among all these wilderness of obscure sound, obscure means ununderstandable sound, एंड वट एवर जितना भी फॉरनर ने बोला उसको कुछ भी समझ नहीं आया मोनी को. ओनली द होल सेंटेंस वॉज क्वाइट मीनिंगलेस फॉर हिम. ओनली वन वर्ड ही गॉट, दैट वॉज कॉफ़ी. एंड said if you want to drink काफ़ी then drive further. अब सर आपको अगर काफ़ी पीनी है मतलब कॉफ़ी पीनी है तो आप नेक्स्ट टाउन में जाइए, बिकॉज देयर इज़ अ फ्राइडे मार्केट एंड there are coffee hotels, because Moni had come to know from some passerby that on Friday there are some stalls of coffee and some other shops also. Foreigner now repeated his words. I repeat, I am not a millionaire, only a simple businessman, and he can afford only 60 minutes on a TV for sponsoring his programs of coffee. And whenever his sale will be escalated, then he will take some more time. A 1 hour program he will show on television to sponsor his coffee. Then the visitor, feeling that he had spent too much time already, and said that, tell me, you accept 100 rupees or not for this horse? Now the foreigner gave him opportunity, and he gave him asked him whether Moni was ready to take 100 rupees for the horse statue or not. And I would love to take the whiskered soldier. And he told Muni that another statue, that was the statue of a soldier, he would take, but there is no room inside his house, and he would have and I will have to cancel my air ticket and take a boat home. And he assured Muni that he will take horse to his house, New York, in very safe and sound condition, keeping it inside a boat, while his wife may go by air, by aeroplane if she likes. And but I will go with this horse and keeping in my cabin. Mooney told him that the horse would be quite safe inside his cabin, and he will be quite safe and sound. At this mighty picture of himself voyaging across the seas, hugging the horse, and now he too was absorbed in his thoughts. Ke he was during his voyage means season नहीं, समुद्र के थ्रू जब यात्रा कर रहा होगा तो he must be embracing the horse must be his own private property. इस तरह के थॉट्स में फॉरनर खोया हुआ था. एंड ही एडेड, आई विल हैव अ पैड डेट, और सर मैं इसकी पैडिंग भी करूँगा चारों तरफ से स्ट्रॉ से बढ़िया तरीके से. आई विल पैड इट अप सो दैट इट विल नॉट ब्रेक. आई हैव माई स्टेशन वैगन एज यू सी. सर वो देखिए मेरी गाड़ी खड़ी हुई है. आई कैन पुश द सीट बैक, पीछे वाली सीट को मैं पुश कर दूँगा एंड टेक द हॉर्स इन ए. इफ़ यू विल just lend me a hand with it. Only I need the support of your hand, and if you give me the support of your hand, then the both of them can place it into the wagon. Lend me a hand and I can lift off the horse from its pedestal, and we can remove the horse from its pedestal and keep this horse statue inside our station wagon. And so if there is a good mutual understanding between us, then we can do everything. Now at this stage of mutual mystification, and whatever the mutual misunderstanding was there between them was complete, and there was no need to even to carry a guessing game. Now both of them need not to go any guessings. अब दोनों को भी किसी चीज़ का अनुमान लगाने की ज़रूरत नहीं थी, because Moni too understood that the topic of their conversation was horse. ओल्ड मैन चैटर्ड अवे इन द स्पिरिट्स ऑफ बैलेंसिंग ऑफ द क्रेडिट्स एंड डेबिट्स. मीन्स जो भी टॉक्स उसने उससे की थी या जो भी टॉक्स उसने रिसीव की थी, अब उन टॉक्स को ओल्ड मैन जो था बैलेंस करना चाहता था, इक्वल करना चाहता था. दैट्स वाई ही स्पोक फ्रॉम द क्रेडिट साइड, बिकॉज सम अकॉर्डिंग टू हिम सम टॉक्स ही नीड टू मेक इट बैलेंस. ऑनरेबल मन, आई होप गॉड हैड ब्लेस्ड यू विद न्यूमरस प्रोजेनी. सर आपके बहुत सारे जो बच्चे होंगे, मैं ऐसी गॉड से विश करता हूँ. मुझे ऐसा लगता है, आई से दिस बिकॉज यू सीम टू बी गुड मैन, बिकॉज यू आर ए नाइस मैन. ओनली द बैड पीपल आर नॉट ब्लेस्ड विद चिल्ड्रन, because you are good, because you stood by me, you gave me offers of cigarettes, and I seldom have it, because you know that I do not have it. Tobacco is not, earlier tobacco was very good of very quality tobacco, and its quality was good, but this time actually I have given up chewing, and it is also expensive, I can't afford it. Noting the other's interest in his speech, now Mooney felt that foreigner was listening to him attentively, so he told him that he asked him how many children he had, with appropriate gestures with his hands, and asked him 1, 2, 3 like this, indicating it with finger or sizes, realizing that a question was being asked. And the red man replied once again, when he felt that Mooney was asking him a question, I said 100. He said 100. He was telling him the price of the horse, which he wanted to give to Mooney, and which encouraged Mooney to go into details. Now when the foreigner according to Mooney gave him reply, so he was encouraged, और वो फिर आगे भी बोला कि how many of them are boys and how many are girls and where are they, is his daughter married, and is there any difficulty in finding out a son-in-law, then he himself can do it in his own country. And in answer to this question, the red man dashed his hand into the pocket. Now the red man put his hand inside his pocket and asked him and took out took out a wallet, and he wanted to take the advantage of this because he knew it very well that is a trend in the market, and he wanted to get the benefit of this trend. Bearish means falling price, price कम करना ये market का trend है, and he wanted to take the advantage of it, and he gave money. Uh, when he realized that some financial element is there in their talks, so he took out currency note, 100 rupee note, like the which he had never seen in his life. Muni had never seen such a note in his life. Only by colors he had seen 5 or 10 rupees note, and but he had not seen, only in his possessions there were coins of coppers and nickels. And when he took out this note into his hand, Moni was laughing at himself, and he was thinking that perhaps the man must come to him to take the change of 10,000 or 10,000 too. And he was smiling, because how a person can ask the change of such an amount from him. And then he advised him that he should go to the headman of the village, and who is a money lender, only he can give him change, and whatever rupees and coins he wanted he will give him. And he thinks nobody knows but dig the floor of puja room, because according to Muni, the person has dug lots of money inside his puja room, and he is a millionaire. And the man disguises himself in rags, because the man lives in a very poor position, and he does not want to show to others that he is a rich man. And because he does not want to go with him to that very money lender, because money lender was very angry with him, because according to money lender, Muni and Muni's goats actually had damaged his pumpkins and creeper of pumpkin. So that's why Moni actually cannot go before him. Only if he wants that, he could go and take the changes. Foreigner followed his look and decided that it would be a sound policy to show an interest in the old man's pets. Now the foreigner actually started loving Moni's pets, because he knew it very well that if I love the pets of Moni, then Moni would be ready easily to sell him his horse statue. And now the truth dawned upon the old man. His dream of lifetime was about to be realized. Moon understood that the foreigner was wanted to purchase his goats, and he understood that the red man was actually making an offer for his goats. He had reared them up in a hope of selling. Moon too had reared his goats because of this purpose, and he wanted to start up his small shop at this highway. And so that's why his dreams are going to be fulfilled now, and he would sell nuts, coconut, colored sweets, green coconut over there for the pedestrians, for the wayfarers, those who would pass by that very track, which was sometimes very busy. And this was the wonderful opportunity for him. The animals were not prize ones, because he knew it very well that his goats were not prize ones. Goats could not win prize because they were not a good one, but still he had tried his level best to feed them up from his savings. So that's why goats looked not too bad. While he was reflecting thus, Muni was thinking about this. Then the red-faced man actually left his farm 100 rupees in tents now. Because red-faced man was guessing that Muni may have some problem with the 100 rupee note, so he may have some other partner also in board. So that's why they may easily share this money. So that's why he took now money in 10 rupees notes. Now the old man said this will be their first ride in the motor car. Now the old man actually got quite ready, and he told the foreigner that his goats actually are going to travel very first time in his life, and so that's why he should be quite careful in taking them, and till when he will not go from this place, the goats would follow him. और मजाक करते हुए बोला कि अगर मैं यम लोग भी जाऊँगा तो ये बकरियाँ मेरे पीछे ही आएंगी, इसलिए टिल वैन आई विल गो फ्रॉम हेयर यू हैव टू you cannot take them up. So first of all let me go, then you can take these goats with you. मोनी उसके बाद में जो bushes थी, thickets थी, dense growth of bushes की तरफ से मुड़ गया to go to his village. The red-faced man waited for some time to come back to Moni, but Moni did not come back. Thereafter, he thought that first of all he was thinking that Moni must have gone to fetch some help of some other villagers. But when he did not come, then he took some help from the couple of men, those who were coming down through their truck, and that was coming down through downhill, and he took the help from them, and they helped him and took 5 rupees, 2 persons, 5 rupees he gave them, and Thereafter, they also helped him out in transferring the gas uh, from their truck to the station wagon, and for this, they also took the charge from him. Mooney now was looking very happy. Very hurriedly, he went to his wife. His wife was sitting down over there before chulhas and squatting. She was squatting. Ukudu बैठी हुई थी वो, and she was wondering. She was thinking about some food. Food should drop down into the कढ़ाईस. किसी भी तरीके से फूड आ जाए कहीं से मेरेकुलस तरीके से, बट मूनी डिस्प्लेज हिज फॉर्च्यून फॉर द डे. अब मूनी ने शो किया, मूनी शोड द मनी वॉट एवर ही हैड टेकन फ्रॉम द रेड फेसड मैन, 100 rupees. That was a good surprise for her. How did you come by it? This was the inquiry of his wife from him, from where actually you had taken this money, and might be you were stealing throughout the day. But Mooney told her each and everything. I have sold the goats to the red-faced man, or he was looking too crazy to purchase them, so that's why I had sent my goats in motor car. But Mooney did not complete his words. Hardly he had completed his words, the cries of the goats could be heard, bleating of the goats could be heard outside of this hut. Now the suspicion of his wife increased, and Mooney came out of his house, and he actually held out the ears of the goats one by one and asked them comically why they did not go with their present master, because earlier he was the master of them and this time the master is the foreigner, so the goats must have gone with them. But his wife actually was looking angry, and she had declared to go away, leaving behind Mooney in the hut, because she told Mooney that she is not the part of the crime, she is not the partner of his crime, and she would go to her parents' house, and now the police will come, and they will ask him what the Mooney had done for earning this amount, and the policeman will break his bones. So students, very funny story it is, very nice story it is, and we came to know what is the difference actually between the rural and urban civilization. Read the contents again and try to write the answers of this story in your own language. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Now the students, I am going to discuss the questions with you, and you need to note down the answers in your own language. So the very first extract is this: of the 700,000 villages to this microscopic dot. First question is, what is meant by microscopic dot? इसका मतलब बताइए स्टूडेंट्स, माइक्रोस्कोपिक डॉट क्या होता है, एंड व्हाट इज सैड अबाउट क्रीटम इन द एक्सट्रैक्ट, और क्रीटम गांव के बारे में एक्सट्रैक्ट में क्या बोला गया है. ओके, व्हाट पर्पस डज अ मैप सर्व इन द विलेज. अब बताइए कि मैप जो है वो किस तरीके से विलेज को सर्व करता है, किस तरीके से जो है काम आता है. मैप की क्या ज़रूरत है छोटे छोटे गाँव को लोकेट करने के लिए. गिव ए ब्रीफ डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ द विलेज क्रीटम. दिस इज़ थर्ड क्वेश्चन. क्रीटम गांव के बारे में थोड़ा सा डिस्क्राइब करके लिखिए जो भी आपने स्टोरी में पढ़ा. गिव द मीनिंग ऑफ क्रीटम इन तमिल. तमिल भाषा में क्रीटम वर्ड का क्या मतलब है. ओके, दिस इज़ गिवन ऑन द वेरी फर्स्ट पेज. एंड वेयर डिड मूनी लिव इन द विलेज. और मूनी जो था गांव में कौन सी लोकेशन पे रहता था. ओके, कई गलियाँ थी वहाँ, तो किस जगह पे रहता था. हाउ डिड द बिग हाउस, एक घर था सीमेंट का और ईंटों का. तो हाउ डिड द बिग हाउस कहते थे डिफर फ्रॉम द अदर हाउसेज, एंड हाउ इट वाज डिफरेंट, ये दूसरे घरों से किस तरह डिफरेंट था, एंड हाउ डज दिस डिफरेंस रिफ्लेक्ट ऑन द थीम ऑन द स्टोरी. और ये जो डिफरेंस था दोनों तरह के घरों में, बिग हाउस और जो सिंपल हाउसेस थे, उससे थीम जो है किस तरीके से रिफ्लेक्ट होती है, कहानी की किस तरीके से सेटअप होती है थीम. नाउ द स्टूडेंट्स, एक्सट्रैक्ट नंबर 2. इन हिज प्रॉस्परस डेज टिल होम फॉर फ्यूल एट सनसेट. ओके, हाउ डिड मोनी केयर फॉर हिज शीप एंड गोट्स. तो बताइए स्टूडेंट्स कि मोनी अपनी शीप और गोट्स को किस तरीके से केयरफुल तरीके से रखता था, कैसे उनकी देखभाल करता था. एंड वाई डिड ही कैरी ए क्रोक. और वो अपने साथ में फार्मिंग टूल जो कि सहसिया होता है मोड़ा हुआ, वो लेकर के क्यों जाता था, बैम्बू के पोल पे क्यों चढ़ जाता था, उसके बिल्कुल टॉप मोस्ट पार्ट पे, एंड पे. इन हिज प्रॉस्परस डेज हाउ मेनी शीप एंड गोट्स डिड मोनी हैव. मोनी के दिन जब प्रॉस्पेरिटी वाले थे तो उसके पास कितनी शीप और गोट्स थी. एंड व्हाट हैपन टू मोस्ट ऑफ देम लेटर. और बाद में क्या हुआ, उसके पास फिर 2 ही बकरियां कैसे रह गई, क्या हुआ उन शीप और गोट्स का. Now the students, question number 3. What does Moni's wife give him for breakfast? मोनी की वाइफ मोनी को ब्रेकफास्ट में क्या बना के देती थी सुबह सुबह जब वो प्रॉस्पेरस था, और मिड डे मील के लिए क्या देती थी दोपहर के खाने के लिए। एंड व्हाट डज इट शो अबाउट हिज इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन। और इस ब्रेकफास्ट को देखकर आपको क्या लगता है कि मोनी की जो आर्थिक स्थिति थी वो किस तरह की थी। नाउ स्टूडेंट्स, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज व्हाई डिड मोनी टीथर हिज टू गोट्स टू द ट्रंक्स ऑफ द ड्रम स्टिक ट्री। मोनी अपनी दोनों बकरियों को ड्रम स्टिक का जो पेड़ था उसे क्यों बांध देता था, एंड किस तरह बांध देता था और क्यों बांध देता था, सॉरी, एंड व्हाट क्लेम डज ही हैव ओवर द ट्री। और उसका किस तरह से क्लेम था, दावा था उस पेड़ पर, वो पेड़ मोनी का किस तरीके से कहा जा सकता है। कंपेयर एंड कंट्रास्ट मोनीज प्रॉस्पेरस डेज विद द प्रेजेंट लिविंग कंडीशंस। दोनों चीज़ों में मोनी के प्रॉस्पेरस डेज में जब वो प्रॉस्पेरस था और जब वो पुअर था, दोनों में कंपेयर करना है, फिर कंट्रास्ट बताना है, डिफरेंस बताना है। गिव 2 पॉइंट्स ऑफ डिफरेंस। 2 पॉइंट्स बताने हैं डिफरेंस बिटवीन हिज लिविंग कंडीशन ऑफ मोनी एंड द फॉरनर। 2 डिफरेंसेस बताने हैं, मोनी की लिविंग कंडीशन और फॉरनर की लिविंग कंडीशन में क्या डिफरेंस था, दोनों में किस तरह से दोनों लाइफ लीड करते थे। तीसरा एक्सट्रैक्ट है स्टूडेंट्स, यू हैव ओनली 4 टीथ इन योर, जो से लेके आवर हाउस स्टोरेज एम्प्टी तक। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, व्हाट वाज मोनी क्रेविंग फॉर। मोनी किस चीज़ की इच्छा रखता था और क्यों, क्या खाना चाहता था, मतलब वाई डिड हिज वाइफ एग्री टू सप्लाई हिम विद व्हाट ही वाज क्रेविंग फॉर। और उसकी वाइफ जो थी मोनी को वो सब देने के लिए क्यों तैयार हो गई जो मोनी खाना चाहता था। एंड अंडर व्हाट कंडीशन वुड शी ऑब्लाइज हिम। और कौन सी ऐसी शर्त उसने रखी जिसकी वजह से वो उसको वो सब बना करके देती है, देने का वायदा करती है। एंड हाउ डिड मोनी अट्रैक्ट द अटेंशन ऑफ द शॉपकीपर। जब वो शॉपकीपर के पास गया तो शॉपकीपर बिजी था, तो उसने उसका अट्रैक्शन को, उसके अटेंशन को किस तरीके से गेन किया एंड विन ओवर हिज गुडविल, और किस तरीके से वो उसका फेवर हासिल कर लेता था। हाउ कुड मोनी गेट सम रॉ फूड आइटम्स। मोनी को दुकानदार ने किस तरीके से, पहले दे चुका था कई बार वो फूड आइटम्स उधार, तो किस तरीके से जो है मोनी उससे ले लेता था जबकि उसके पास तो पैसे नहीं होते थे। हाउ कैन यू कॉन्क्लूड फ्रॉम द एक्सट्रैक्ट। एक्सट्रैक्ट से आप किस तरह कॉन्क्लूड कर सकते हो दैट मोनी इज़ फ्रॉम द पुअर इकोनॉमिक बैकग्राउंड, दैट मोनी इज़ फ्रॉम द पुअर इकोनॉमिक बैकग्राउंड। मोनी का जो पुअर इकोनॉमिक बैकग्राउंड था वो एक्सट्रैक्ट से कैसे पता चलता है आपको। कंपेयर इट विथ मोनीज फाइनेंशियल कंडीशन। मोनी की जो फाइनेंशियल कंडीशन है उस कंडीशन से इस बात को, उसकी बैकग्राउंड को कंपेयर करिए एज डिस्क्राइब्ड अर्लियर इन द स्टोरी, जो कि स्टोरी में पहले फाइनेंशियल कंडीशन को डिस्क्राइब किया गया। एक्सट्रैक्ट नंबर 4 है द शॉपमैन से लेके एक्सपेक्ट टू रॉब बाय देन एक्सप्लेन व्हाट हैज़ हैपन अर्लियर। आपको बताना है कि बिकॉज ऑफ विच पहले क्या हुआ है, जैसे कि शॉपकीपर जो है इज़ रिलक्टेंट टू गिव थिंग्स ऑन क्रेडिट, कि शॉपकीपर जो है रिलक्टेंट है, अनविलिंग है मोनी को उधार चीज़ें देने के लिए, नहीं देना चाहता है वो मोनी को उधार चीज़ें। दूसरा क्वेश्चन है फाइनली फ्रॉम वेयर डिड मोनी से दैट ही वुड गेट दी मनी। अच्छा, मोनी शॉपकीपर को भरोसा किस तरह दिलवाता है कि वो पैसे कहाँ से अरेंज कर लेगा। वॉज ही सेइंग द ट्रूथ, क्या मोनी ठीक कह रहा है, और अगर ठीक कह रहा है तो आप रीज़न भी बताइए इस बात को सपोर्ट करने के। अकॉर्डिंग टू मोनी हाउ ओल्ड वॉज ही। मोनी के हिसाब से एक्चुअली हाउ ओल्ड वॉज ही, वो कितने एज का था, एंड हाउ डिड ही कैलकुलेट हिज एज, और वो अपनी एज को किस तरीके से कैलकुलेट करता था। व्हाट डिड द शॉपमैन से अबाउट मोनीज एज। What according to the shopman was the age of Moni and how could he guess that, और वो अपनी एज को कैसे जो है गैस करता था मोनी, और दुकानदार ने उसके बारे में क्या क्या कहा। एंड व्हाट करेक्टरिस्टिक ट्रेट ऑफ मोनी इज रिवील्ड फ्रॉम द एक्सट्रैक्ट। एक्सट्रैक्ट से मोनी की कौन सी करेक्टरिस्टिक जो क्वालिटी है वो सामने आती है, और आप अपने सपोर्ट में एग्जाम्पल्स भी दीजिए। Now students, extract number 5 है, and this extract is from he later told his wife that a scoundrel and it is to do you good. Who is referred to as scoundrel? Scoundrel किसको बोला है and बोला गया है, and why was Moni annoyed with the scoundrel, और मोनी जो था उस scoundrel से, दुष्ट से दुखी क्यों था, नाराज़ क्यों था। Why doesn't Moni argue against what she says? मोनी जो है आर्ग्यू क्यों नहीं करता है अपनी वाइफ से जब उसकी वाइफ उसको कुछ कहती है, उसके खिलाफ क्यों नहीं बोलता है? हाउ कैन यू कंक्लूड दैट ही ट्रस्ट हर? आपको किस तरह से पता चलता है कि वो अपनी वाइफ पे ट्रस्ट करता है एज़ फार एज इज़ वेलफेयर इज़ कंसर्न, जहाँ तक कि उसकी भलाई का सवाल है, फूड के अरेंजमेंट का सवाल है। हाउ वुड मोनीज वाइफ गेट मनी टू बाई फूड स्टफ़? मोनी जो है फूड स्टफ़ खरीदने के लिए, खाने पीने की चीज़ें खरीदने का इंतज़ाम कहाँ से करेगी, पैसा कहाँ से लाएगी, ये सब बताना है। वाई डिड मोनीज वाइफ रिफ्यूज़ टू गिव हिम एनी फूड? मोनी की वाइफ ने मोनी को किसी भी तरह का खाना देने से क्यों मना कर दिया? एंड वाट डज़ इट रिवील अबाउट मोनीज वाइफ? और इससे क्या शो ऑफ होता है उसके बारे में, उसके मूड के बारे में। रीड द एक्सट्रैक्ट। मोनी सेट एट द फुट ऑफ द स्टैच्यू एंड दिस इज द एक्सट्रैक्ट नंबर 6 टू मैनेज टू गेट सम फूड। विच स्टैच्यू इज़ रेफर टू इन द एक्सट्रैक्ट? कौन सी स्टैच्यू के बारे में इस एक्सट्रैक्ट में बात हो रही है? डिस्क्राइब द स्टैच्यू ऑफ द हॉर्स। हॉर्स की स्टैच्यू को डिस्क्राइब भी करिए। तो डिस्क्रिप्शन इज गिवन टू यू स्टूडेंट्स। हाउ डिड द स्टैच्यू ऑफ द वॉरियर लुक? अच्छा, घोड़े के बराबर में एक और स्टैच्यू थी वॉरियर की, वो किस तरीके से जो है दिखती थी? एंड हाउ डिड द इमेज मेकर्स डिपिक्ट हिम एज ए मैन ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ? और साथ में इमेज मेकर्स ने उसको एक शक्तिशाली मैन के जैसा किस तरीके से स्टैच्यू को दिखाया है। नाउ नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है स्टूडेंट्स, वाई डेंट मोनी द विलेजर्स और द वेंडर्स? मोनी, गांव के लोग और शरारती तत्व जितने भी वेंडर्स थे, नोटिस द स्प्लेंडर ऑफ द स्टैचू ऑफ द हॉर्स, उन्होंने जो है शानदार मूर्ति की, आकर्षक मूर्ति के आकर्षण को अपने कंसिडरेशन में क्यों नहीं लिया? ओके। वाई डेंट मोनी गो बैक होम अर्ली? मोनी जो था जल्दी घर क्यों नहीं गया, क्यों नहीं जाना चाहता था वो जल्दी? एंड ब्रीफली स्टेट द डिफरेंस इन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेट्स ऑफ मोनी एंड दी विजिटिंग अमेरिकन। दोनों की फाइनेंशियल डिफरेंस को स्टेट करना है, बताना है। स्टेट हाउ डज़ इट रिफ्लेक्ट ऑन द थीम ऑफ क्लैश? और ये भी बताना है कि ये डिफरेंस जो है किस तरीके से रिफ्लेक्ट करता है, प्रभाव डालता है इस थीम पर, जो कि थीम मेटेरियलिज्म की है और स्पिरिचुअलिज्म की है। यानी एक जो है मेटेरियलिस्टिक चीज़ों को गेन करना चाहता है, तो दूसरा स्पिरिचुअल थ्योरी में बिलीव करता है। Now next extract is students 7th. This is from today. While he observed से लेकर के है till another car comes. Describe the arrival of the red-faced foreigner. Red-faced foreigner के जिस तरीके से वो आता है उसके अराइवल को डिस्क्राइब करना है। Who was the foreigner? foreigner कौन था? Why did the foreigner say looking at the clay statue? What did the foreigner say? तो foreigner ने क्या कहा उस मिट्टी की घोड़े की मूर्ति को देखकर? स्टेट दी फीलिंग्स ऑफ मोनी आफ्टर मीटिंग दी फॉरनर। जब मोनी जो था फॉरनर से मिला तो उसकी फीलिंग्स क्या थी? एंड वाई डिड ही हैव सच फीलिंग्स? और इस तरह की फीलिंग्स उसके अंदर क्यों थी? लुकिंग एट द क्लोथ्स ऑफ द फॉरनर, व्हाट डिड मोनी थिंक? फॉरनर की जो वेशभूषा थी, क्लोथ्स थे, उनको देख करके मोनी को क्या लगा? एंड हाउ डिड द फॉरनर पुट हिम एट ईज? और किस तरीके से फॉरनर के स्टेटमेंट ने मोनी को कंफर्टेबिलिटी का एहसास करवाया? ओके। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल घबरा रहा था मोनी एंड लेटर ऑन ही वॉज फीलिंग कंफर्टेबल। तो फॉरनर ने ऐसा क्या कह दिया उससे? नाउ नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज हैविंग एग्जॉस्टेड हिज वोकेबलरी। क्योंकि स्टूडेंट्स यू नो कि मोनी की जो वोकेबलरी थी वो काफ़ी पुअर थी इंग्लिश की। तो व्हाट डिड मोनी से इन तमिल? तो मोनी ने तमिल भाषा में क्या कहा, क्योंकि उसको वही आती थी। एंड नेक्स्ट पार्ट इज व्हाट डज इट रिफ्लेक्ट ऑन द इशू ऑफ लैंग्वेज बिटवीन मोनी एंड द फॉरनर? और ये जो है मोनी और फॉरनर की जो भाषाएं हैं उस पर इस तरह का मोनी का स्टेटमेंट किस तरह क्या रिफ्लेक्ट करता है, क्या प्रभाव डालता है? एंड नेक्स्ट एक्सट्रैक्ट इज 8 द फॉरनर फेथफुली लुक्ड इन द डायरेक्शन से लेकर फ्रॉम एनीवन फॉर ईयर्स नाउ। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन हुआ द फॉरनर कौन था एंड उसका बैकग्राउंड क्या था? व्हाट इज़ रेफर टू एज कर्टसीज ऑफ सीजन? इस फ्रेज का क्या मतलब है? एंड वाई डिड मोनी आंसर यस नो? और मोनी ने यस नो दोनों वर्ड क्यों बोले आंसर देने के लिए? स्टेट मोनी अर्लियर एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ स्मोकिंग ए सिगरेट। मोनी का जो पहले उसने सिगरेट पी थी, उसके स्मोकिंग की थी, तो उसका क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा था वो बताना है। व्हेन द फॉरनर फ्लिक द लाइट ओपन, जब फॉरनर ने अपने लाइटर को जलाया और एक और मोनी की सिगरेट को जलाने की कोशिश की, मोनी को सिगरेट दी, तो व्हाट वर द लेटर्स फीलिंग्स? तो फिर मोनी की क्या फीलिंग्स थी? नाउ व्हाट वर द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज? लेटर मीन्स सेकेंडली रेफर्ड, जिसके हम बाद में रेफर करते हैं। एंड व्हाट वर द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज ऑफ स्मोकिंग ऑफ अमेरिकन सिगरेट ऑन मोनी। जब मोनी ने अमेरिकन मेड सिगरेट को स्मोक किया तो उसके क्या प्रभाव, क्या रिजल्ट्स मोनी को दिखाई दिए, एंड मोनी ने कैसे रिएक्ट किया। डिस्क्राइब मोनीज फियर्स एंड एंग्जाइटीज़ व्हेन ही वाज गिवन द कार्ड बाय द विजिटर। जब मोनी को कार्ड दिया विजिटिंग कार्ड उस विजिटर ने, फॉरनर ने, तो मोनी का क्या डर थे, क्या बेचैनियाँ थी जो उसके अंदर थी। व्हाट डज इट रिवील अबाउट मोनीज करेक्टर, और इससे मोनी के करेक्टर के बारे में आपको क्या पता चलता है। नाइन्थ एक्सट्रैक्ट स्टूडेंट, ही सेड से लेके आई नो नथिंग, वाई डिड मोनी स्पीक इन ए फेयरफुल टोन इन द एक्सट्रैक्ट। मोनी जो था एक डरे हुए इंसान की तरह टोन में एक्सट्रैक्ट में क्यों बात करता है। सेकेंड क्वेश्चन इज विच केस इज मोनी रेफरिंग टू इन द एक्सट्रैक्ट। मोनी कौन से केस की बात कर रहा है एक्सट्रैक्ट में। एंड वाई डिड ही से दैट ही डिड नॉट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट द केस। और मोनी ऐसा क्यों कहता है कि उसको उस केस के बारे में कुछ नहीं पता, ओनली भगवान को पता है। एंड व्हाट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ट्रेट ऑफ मोनी इज रिवील्ड फ्रॉम हिज टॉक। और मोनी जब इस तरह की बातें करता है तो उसके करेक्टर की कौन सी विशेषता सामने आती है। एक्सप्लेन वाई मोनी स्पोक ऑफ द मर्डर विद द फॉरनर। मोनी जो है मर्डर के बारे में मोनी ने बात क्यों की फॉरनर के साथ। एंड व्हाट डज इट रिवील अबाउट मोनीज बिहेवियर, और इससे मोनी के बिहेवियर के बारे में क्या पता चलता है। नेक्स्ट इज स्टेट हाउ द टाइटल ऑफ द स्टोरी ए हॉर्स एंड द टू गोट्स इज रेलिवेंट। टाइटल जो है बिल्कुल रेलिवेंट क्यों है, बिल्कुल एकदम संबंधित, बिल्कुल प्रॉपर क्यों है, वेल कनेक्टेड क्यों है हॉर्स एंड टू गोट्स स्टोरी का। एंड हाउ इज़ द क्लैश ऑफ कल्चर्स ब्रॉट अबाउट इन द स्टोरी। स्टोरी में जो कल्चर्स के क्लैशेस हैं वो किस तरीके से सामने आते हैं राइटर के द्वारा। एंड हाउ इज़ इट यूज्ड, हाउ इट इज़ यूज्ड इन द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द प्लॉट ऑफ द स्टोरी। और ये कहानी किस तरीके से आगे बढ़ती है इन क्लैशेस के आधार पर, किस तरह से प्लॉटिंग, किस तरह से कहानी की स्टोरी लाइन सेटअप होती है, स्टोरी लाइन किस तरह से सेटअप होती है। नाउ एक्सट्रैक्ट नंबर 10, आई नेवर वेंट टू स्कूल से लेकर ऑफिसर्स नो 8। एंड व्हाट हैज़ द फॉरनर जस्ट सेड अबाउट तमिल एंड मोनीज सेल्स टॉक। फॉरनर ने अभी अभी तमिल भाषा के बारे में और मोनी की सेल्स टॉक्स के बारे में क्या कहा है। व्हाट इज़ पोंगल, पोंगल क्या होता है। एंड व्हाट डज मोनी डू ऑन पोंगल इन हिज विलेज। पोंगल जब आता था तब मोनी अपने गांव में क्या करता है। स्टेट व्हाट डज मोनी हिंट इन द एक्सट्रैक्ट अबाउट द कास्ट एंड क्लास डिस्टिंक्शन बिटवीन द रिच एंड द पुअर इन क्रीटम। क्रीटम गांव में अमीर और गरीब का जो भेदभाव था, डिस्टिंक्शन था, वो मोनी ने एक्सट्रैक्ट में क्या कहकर शो ऑफ किया है, क्या कह के बताया है। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज एक्सप्लेन टू कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर्स ऑफ मोनीज वाइफ। मोनी की वाइफ के बारे में, मोनी की वाइफ के करेक्टर के बारे में दो बातें बताइए, वो किस तरह की लेडी थी। स्टेट ब्रीफली द पोजिशन ऑफ वीमेन इन विलेजेस एज सीन इन द स्टोरी। इस कहानी में ए हॉर्स एंड टू गोट्स में लेडी की क्या पोजीशंस थी उस समय पर, लेडी को किस तरीके से ट्रीट किया जाता था उस समय पर, वो सब आपको बताना है। 11th एक्सट्रैक्ट, मोनी नाउ एश्योर्ड से लेकर ऑल बेड मैन तक विच डेड बॉडी इज रेफर टू इन द एक्सट्रैक्ट। एक्सट्रैक्ट में किस डेड बॉडी के बारे में बात की जा रही है। एंड वाई वॉज मोनी अफ्रेड ऑफ डेड बॉडी अर्लियर। और मोनी जो था पहले क्यों डरा हुआ था, ये डेड बॉडी के बारे में बताने से अफ्रेड क्यों था। एंड व्हाट इज़ कलियुगा, कलियुग क्या होता है। एंड व्हाट इज़ सेड टू हैपन इन कलियुगा, और कलियुग में क्या होने वाला है, क्या होता है मोनी के हिसाब से, वो सब आपको लिखना है। एंड हाउ डज द लैंग्वेज बैरियर इन द कन्वर्सेशन बिटवीन द अमेरिकन एंड मोनी प्रोवाइड ह्यूमर इन द स्टोरी। किस तरीके से जो लैंग्वेज बैरियर है, दोनों एक दूसरे की भाषा को नहीं समझ पाते हैं अमेरिकन और मोनी, वो कहानी को ह्यूमरस कैसे बना देता है। डिस्क्राइब द लिविंग रूम ऑफ द फॉरनर इन अमेरिका एज स्टेटेड बाय हिम। और जो फॉरनर का जो लिविंग रूम है उसको डिस्क्राइब करिए जैसा कि फॉरनर ने स्टोरी में डिस्क्राइब किया है। हाउ डज मोनी डिस्क्राइब द हॉर्स, मोनी हॉर्स को किस तरह से जो है डिस्क्राइब करता है। एंड हाउ वुड द हॉर्स बी अकोमोडेटेड इन द फॉरनर्स हाउस। और फॉरनर जो है अपने घर में किस तरीके से अकोमोडेट करेगा, रखेगा, जगह देगा घोड़े को, किस तरीके से उसको प्रोवाइड करेगा जगह। 12th एक्सट्रैक्ट, आई एम नॉट अ मिलेनियर से लेकर माई ट्रेड इज़ कॉफ़ी। एंड फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, हु स्पीक्स दीज वर्ड्स। इन शब्दों को कौन बोलता है। एंड इन व्हाट कॉन्टेक्स्ट डज ही स्पीक दैम, और क्या बातें चल रही हैं जिसकी वजह से वो ये बोलता है। Now the students next question is what does Moni say about the coffee hotel in the locality? मोनी जो है अपनी लोकेलिटी में मौजूद जो कॉफ़ी होटल हैं उनके बारे में क्या जानकारी उसको देता है, एंड वाई डज़ ही से सो अबाउट द कॉफ़ी होटल, और वो ऐसा करता क्यों है, बताता क्यों है उसको, एंड वॉट हैज़ मोनी सेड अबाउट द एंड ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, दुनिया ख़त्म हो जाएगी, इसके बारे में मोनी जो है फॉनर को क्या बताता है। एक्सप्लेन वॉट द काइंड ऑफ अ बिजनेसमैन वॉज द फॉनर, फॉरनर किस तरह का बिजनेसमैन था, किस बिजनेस में डील करता था, वो आपको बताना है। हाउ डज़ द फॉरनर प्लान टू ट्रांसपोर्ट द हॉर्स टू अमेरिका, फॉरनर क्या प्लानिंग करता है घोड़े को अमेरिका तक ले जाने के लिए, एंड व्हाट डज़ ही इंटेंड टू डू विद इट इन अमेरिका, और अमेरिका ले जाकर वो इस घोड़े का क्या करना चाहता है, उसका क्या इरादा है। एक्सट्रैक्ट नंबर स्टूडेंट्स 13 एंड नोटिंग द अदर्स इंटरेस्ट इन स्पीच टिल well, this is what I meant. First question. मोनी asked the red man how many children do you have. मोनी रेड मैन से पूछता है कि आपके कितने चिल्ड्रन हैं. The red man replied, I said 100. And what was each one talking about. दोनों में से मोनी और फॉनर दोनों क्या बात कर रहे हैं, क्या क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है, किससे रिलेटेड, फॉनर किससे रिलेटेड जवाब दे रहा है। एक्सप्लेन द ह्यूमर इन दिस कन्वर्सेशन, और इस कन्वर्सेशन में जो ह्यूमर है, ह्यूमरस एलिमेंट है, वो आपको बताना है, हास्य का एलिमेंट जिससे हंसी आए। गिव टू एग्जाम्पल्स टू शो दैट मोनी वॉज क्यूरियस अबाउट द रेड मैन, दो एग्जाम्पल्स बताइए जिससे कि आपको पता चलता है कि मोनी रेड मैन के प्रति बड़ा क्यूरियस था, उत्सुक था ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जानने के लिए। लुकिंग एट दी 100 रुपी नोट, 100 रुपी के नोट को देख के मोनी कैसे रिएक्ट करता है, मोनी ने कैसे रिएक्ट किया, एंड वॉट डिड ही थिंक वॉज द पर्पज़ ऑफ गिविंग हिम दैट मनी, और मोनी क्या सोच रहा था कि ये पैसा उसको क्यों दिया जा रहा था। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज वाई डिड द रेड मैन शो सम इंटरेस्ट इज मोनीज गोट्स, मोनी की गोट में रेड मैन ने इंटरेस्ट क्यों दिखाया, क्यों प्यार किया उनको। ब्रीफली डिस्क्राइब द इंटेंशंस ऑफ मोनी, मोनी के इंटेंशंस को शॉर्ट में डिस्क्राइब करिए कि वो बकरियों को क्यों उसने पाल पोस करके बड़ा किया, क्यों रियर अप किया, एंड वाई कुड नॉट हिज प्लान बी कैरीड आउट, और उसका प्लान क्यों नहीं कैरी आउट हो पाया था। Now next extract is Moni hurried homeward till in his motor car. What food did Moni normally take? Moni normally क्या खाना खाता था, and explain why he is expecting miracle food at his occasion. आप एक्सप्लेन करिए कि क्यों एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा था कि वो कुछ चमत्कारिक खाना उसे मिल जाए, चमत्कार से खाना आ जाए। एंड हाउ डिड मोनीज वाइफ रिएक्ट व्हेन ही सॉ दी कैश, मोनी की वाइफ ने कैसे रिएक्ट किया जब उसने कैश देखा, मोनी के हाथों में 100 रुपये देखे, 100 रुपीज़। एज सुन एज मोनी कम्प्लीटेड हिज स्पीच, जैसे ही मोनी ने अपनी स्पीच को कंप्लीट किया, व्हाट डिड मोनीज वाइफ कंक्लूड फ्रॉम दिस सीन, तो मोनी की वाइफ ने जो है, मोनी वाइफ इस दृश्य को देख करके क्या आइडिया लगाती है, क्या कंक्लूड करती है, क्या उसने कंक्लूड किया, एंड व्हाट डज दैट रिवील अबाउट मोनीज वाइफ, और इससे क्या शो ऑफ होता है मोनी की वाइफ के बारे में। फोर्थ क्वेश्चन, हाउ कैन यू कंक्लूड दैट मोनी वॉज अनॉयड ऑन सीइंग दी गोट्स, मोनी जो है बकरियों को देख के नाराज़ क्यों हो जाता है, इस बात को आप कैसे बता सकते हैं जब वो वापस आ जाती हैं उसकी गोट्स। हाउ डज़ द स्टोरी एंड, स्टोरी किस तरीके से एंड होती है, किस नोट के साथ, एंड व्हाट हैज़ अपील टू यू इन द स्टोरी, और आपको स्टोरी बहुत ज़्यादा अपीलिंग क्यों लगती है, कौन सी बात आपको स्टोरी में अच्छी लगती है, वो आपको बतानी है। तो स्टूडेंट्स स्टोरी कंटेंट्स आपको क्लियर हुए होंगे। वंस अगेन रीड द कंटेंट्स, ट्राई टू राइट द आंसर्स, इफ़ योर वर्क बुक्स आर ऑलरेडी फिल्ड अप देन राइट द आंसर्स इन रफ notebook, okay, but first of all read the story one time, learn the meanings of the story one time that are given in your workbook, then again read the story. Thank you very much, and I will be with you with some other story on some other day. Thank you very much, have a nice day.